What's happening, family? It's your man Mark Black. You know what time it is. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Sucka-Free Saturday. I am glad to have you all with me today. Hopefully, I provide you with something that you can take at least until Wednesday when I'll do my Hump Day broadcast, and use that to your advantage, your edification, but most importantly to the uplift of our tribe. So, shout out to all of you. Um, Before we get started, I just want to mention a few things. If you're here, make sure you pop into the chat. Knock on the door, let us know you're here so we can shout you out and give you some love. Check the links in the bottom of the description of every video. There's always resources, tools, you name it there, just for you. And if you haven't done so or haven't thought about it, perhaps you should consider supporting your interests, right? Supporting, black media. Click any one of the links to help a brother out. Again, I'm not promising nothing except that it helps me to eat and to continue to bring you information, edification, and so on and so forth. No pushing, no pressure. If you feel like you can do it and you can call it, it's much appreciated. So, without further ado, it looks like we only got a few people in the chat right now. I'm certain more people will pop in. So shout out to Easy Be Easy, B1 to Brother John, and shout out to Sister Tiffany, and I will shout everybody out as they pop in. So, fam, without further ado, today's broadcast topic is titled The Firewalkers or Firewalkers. Now, what is it that I mean by firewalkers, right? Because you surely don't think that your brother Mark Black means the people that walk on the bed of coals and stuff like that. Although it feels like a lot of the time politically that black folk are having to walk over coals of hot fire to get anything in the smug. But no, that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the fact that there seems to be a series of different myths, a different statements that people expect us to accept this fact that on their face seem reasonable, but once we break them down and we look at them, we realize that it's a load of horse shit. All right? When I'm referring to the Firewalkers, by the way, shout out to Sister Taj and shout out to Darker Visions. I see you, fam. And yes, Taj, I'm glad to be doing them again, too. I missed them. I'm referring to the politicians. I'm referring to Snowbama. I'm referring to Donald J. Trump. I'm referring to Kamala Harris. I'm referring to Jim Crow Joe. I'm referring to these national politicians, right? Especially the ones running for the higher offices. They're the firewalkers. And what specifically I mean by that statement, by the way, shout out to my brother Black Man 903. I see you, fam. What it do? What it do? What I mean by that is, fam, is that we're consistently told. By the way, shout out to beloved Sister Jacqueline. I see you. I appreciate it. Just let me know you're here so I can shout you out and show you some love. And you can lurk all you like. No worries. What I'm referring to, however, when I call them the firewalkers, is that there's this phrase that's made to us every 4 years during, or every 2 years during an election cycle, when we face yet again another shitty ass candidate, another candidate that has made explicitly statements stating that they would not support or did not care about any of our interests as the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States, right? Shout out to you, cool Unc. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. And when we're presented with these candidates, these lefty white liberals especially, and their pets, their black liberal pets, come to us all and they say something along the lines of this. Ex-politician isn't my first pick either. So I'm going to hold my nose, I'm going to vote for them, and I'm going to hold their feet to the fire and push them to the left or push them to whatever direction you're trying to push this candidate, right? I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. Now, what they're trying to say is that I'm going to vote for this motherfucker even though I don't want to. And then I'm going to hold him accountable for doing the shit that I want him to do after he gets into office. But isn't it strange, family? Isn't it strange? By the way, shout out to Shango, the Eternal. I appreciate you. Salute to you as well. And yes, please, family, hit the thumbs, whether it's the like or the hater button. Just let me know what you think of the broadcast. Isn't it strange that once these bastards get into office, they rarely seem to move in a direction that benefits us at all? Not only that, but now we've put them in this position and got no real way to hold them accountable. You see, fam, these myths of holding their feet to the fire and, we have to fight for all these other things, so we got to get ex-politician out and so on and so forth, are just ways of people being able to intimidate our vote and keep us captive. I'm going to speak on 3 specific examples today. And yes, we're going to go to the teaching screen. I'm going to speak on 3 specific examples today of just what I'm referring to. The first thing that I wanted to speak on, by the way, shout out to my beloved sister Kawami and shout out to producer Hack. Peace, bro. I see you. B1 to you. When we talk about holding a politician's feet to the fire, you notice that that phrase gets thrown around, but no one ever actually defines what it looks like. Have you ever stopped and asked any of these pale buckra liberals what they mean by holding a politician's feet to the fire? Because the last time I checked, we don't live in a direct democracy where there is a one-to-one correlation between your political power and your ability to affect a politician. What we have is a situation where we elect people to represent us. But once we've elected them to represent us, fam, they literally have carte blanche to do any goddamn thing they like. There is no mechanism, for the most part, to pull these people out of office and say, whoa, pause, motherfucker. We asked you to do X, Y, and Z. You're not doing that. So guess what? You go find another job. We'll put somebody else in there. We don't have that mechanism here in America, at least not on the national level. There's some recall elections and things like that on the local level, but you have to get enough people to be outraged by the actions of said politician to even initiate a recall. We don't live in a circumstance or a situation that once you give another citizen an office to hold, that you can actually do anything to affect them once they become the office holder. So I would like for these sons of bitches to explain to me and Lord Vader here just what exactly the mechanism is supposed to be for holding their feet to the fire. I would like to know step by step how you move an office holder from one position to another, unless they choose to move. Because, see, the reason why this bullshit lie works, especially on our tribe, is because we have actually seen politicians move for other groups. Do you understand? The reason why your pale-skinned liberal buckra friends can still come to you with a straight face and say, I know you don't want him. I know you don't want Joe Biden. I know you don't want Kamala Harris. I know it. They're not my first pick either. But we got to get Trump out of there. And so we're going to hold our nose, vote for them, and we're going to hold them accountable once they get into office. we're going to move them to whatever direction, whatever position they're claiming you want to move to. The reason why they can still come to you with that straight, and it's bullshit, but when they can come to you straight with it like that, because we have actually seen politicians move just for other groups. Never in the history of the United States of America has a president actually moved in any real way to do anything for us politically unless shit burned. Just like Easy Be Easy said, unless the country is on fire, there has been not a single politician that has ever moved their position on bettering in any way the existence, the position of the descendants of the enslaved. Not a single one. When they say we're going to hold their feet to the fire, and you ask them, okay, what does that look like? How far then are you willing to go to make them accountable to you? You get a whole hodgepodge of answers. Everything ranging from, we'll go into the streets and protest, to, I'm going to make sure that I blast my congressman or blast the president with emails to show you how impotent even your white liberal friends are when it comes to so-called holding their feet to the fire. They weren't even able in any real way to move Barack Obama toward anything resembling a so-called leftist or progressive agenda. And he was a Democrat. They had 8 years with Snowbama to be able to make changes, to institute real reforms, to do all the shit that's on their little lefty shopping list. And yet none of it got done. Barack Obama still bailed out the corporations, the motherfucking insurance companies, Wall Street. Barack Obama never found a country he didn't like bombing, especially if he could send shiny drones to do it. He gave a little bit and bent a little bit on gay marriage because he's surrounded by a bunch of motherfucking, LGBTQIA people. So that didn't really cost him nothing and gained him a whole world of motherfucking esteem and respect. But Barack Obama never moved a fucking inch from the neoliberal goddamn almost purely right-wing agenda he got elected for. He wasn't really promising anybody anything. Hope and change was merely a slogan. As soon as he put his hands on the reins of power, right? As soon as he had control of the guns and the butter, Barack Obama said, fuck hope and change. It's my way or the highway. And so it was. So in 2014, when our brother Mike Brown gets shot down by Darren Wilson in Ferguson, Missouri, and we became outraged finally. After all these goddamn deaths, Terrence Crawford, Tamir, God, I lost track of all the names. Trayvon, all these deaths. We finally said, fuck this shit. And we started to rise up. Fam, even us burning shit down wasn't moving Barack Obama at all. Shout out to Sister Alma, by the way, and welcome to the broadcast. He's worthy. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Peace to you. We go at Barack Obama from the streets. Ferguson burns. You know what that motherfucker did? He called us a bunch of thugs. We told Barack Obama that we want justice. And he never once used the DOJ to persecute any of these motherfucking racists that killed our people in the streets. Not once. Not once. There was never a case where Barack Obama used his Department of Justice to prosecute a motherfucking police officer accused of murdering under the color of law. Not once. And in point of fact, fam, for all the pressure, all the holding his feet to the fire we did, Barack Obama was able to pass the Blue Lives Matter legislation, making harsher penalties on people that even scratch a motherfucking cop. Make this shit make sense to me, fam. We're supposed to give them the power and then hold them accountable? When after they got the power, so they got control of the guns and the butter, they don't have to listen to us? Like, we're supposed to vote for Jim Crow Joe and Chameleon Harris and give them the power. And then once we give them the power, they didn't have the power to tell us to shut the fuck up if they don't want to hear what we got to say. Make the shit make sense. Now, here's a crazy idea, fam. I don't know. Perhaps we should hold these motherfuckers accountable before we vote for them. Like, we should actually be able to plumb depths into both Kamala Harris's record and Jim Crow Joe Biden's record. We should be able to look at Trump's record. We should be able to do all this shit without anybody telling us, you're suppressing the black vote. You're under the influence of the Russians. It's the Russian bots. But if you say anything against Kamala Harris now, or against Jim Crow Joe, and you're thin-skinned, woe betide you, because you're going to get blasted from all sides. You're going to get blasted from people in our own tribe. You're going to get blasted from the white pale liberals who want more of the cookies for themselves, damn whether you get any or not. You know the craziest part about this whole shit, fam? Is I've been trying to reconcile this idea of lesser of two evils. Because that's another myth that they hit us with every election cycle. By the way, shout out to my beloved sister, Miss Kawami. Yeah, sister, it's a wild idea to actually put these motherfuckers' feet to the fire before I give them control over the guns. I don't know, call me nuts. But if I got a motherfucker who told me to my face that my people and my tribe can't expect anything specifically from them, and I got a man whose whole legislative history has been built on the bricks of abusing, maligning the character of, and decimating black people, yeah, I got a real fucking problem with the fact that I'm supposed to now use my vote to enfranchise these motherfuckers with more power. So I got a racist bastard and his new bed wench. And I'm supposed to just run to the button. Oh yeah, because Donald Trump. When meanwhile, I can push them two just about as much as I've been able to push Donald Trump. Which, for any of you black people that been counting, we ain't really pushed Donald Trump to do much. You want to hear something crazy, fam? Let's go to the teacher screen for the first time. Let me show you something. There's an article that I pulled up here from The Guardian, right? Talking about criminal justice reform under Obama. Now, let's take a look at this article because I read the article earlier. And by the way, I'll pop the link into the chat for you here so you guys can go and take a look at it for yourself, right? But it talks about, Barack going to visiting a federal correction facility and giving clemency to 1,000 inmates and this, that, and the third, right? And so on and so forth, okay? Check this out. Read here what Van Jones was quoted as saying. I'll read it to you. Quote, criminal justice reform was treacherous waters in the first term, said Van Jones, who served in the Obama administration in 2009 and went on to co-found Cut 50. Pre-Trayvon Martin and Black Lives Matter, these issues were considered to be ultra-liberal and African-American, unquote. So the one thing it wasn't even reparations, fam. It wasn't the big ass. It was just get the motherfucking cops' boot off our neck a little bit and kill the goddamn injustice in the so-called justice system. Oh, but that was a bridge too far for Barack Obama. It was considered too left and too African American, too black. Oh, I can do shit for kids whose parents are illegals in this country, who brought them here illegally. I can do something for them. That's no problem. I can fit. I can evolve on gay marriage. Because that's okay. That's all right. I can find myself. We can. But locking them niggas up. Oh no. That's not how America works. But notice that Van said pre-Trayvon and right? He said before we had Trayvon's blood in the ground, before we had Mike Brown and Ferguson's blood in the ground, asking these bastards to move in any way to stop mass incarcerating us was a bridge too far. It was an ask that was just too goddamn big. Now, where the hell was supposed to be those people who said, you know what, we're going to vote for Barack Obama and hold his feet to the fire? They was quiet as fucking church mice. Shout out to my beloved sister Toolbox. I see you, fam. All those black pundits who got a whole lot of shit to talk. The black blue checks on Twitter and the black motherfuckers on CNN and MSNBC, right? When Barack Obama was in charge, them bitches was quiet. They were silent as the grave. You couldn't even dream of openly criticizing Barack Obama. You couldn't. There was no place, if you were a black person, that you had a place to stand, if you were in any way critical of the neoliberal Barack Obama, who's basically a motherfucking conservative in blackface. He's not your grandfather's Democrat. The Democrats, when they was an all-white party, they had no problem passing legislation and benefits for everybody. FDR was a Democrat. And under FDR, white people got the biggest fucking boost they ever gotten under the New Deal. So when the Democrats were all white, it was all right to be talking about doing stuff for people and giving more of the butter to people and spending less on the guns and this, that, and the third. But when all those motherfucking racist bastards started moving over to the Republicans and left the soft racists, the lazy racists, as Democrats, and then we jumped on board. By the way, shout out to Adric. Thank you so much for the love, fam. Brother Texwell, what's good, fam? I see you. Welcome to the broadcast. But when we started becoming a part of the Democratic Party, all of a sudden, to do things that benefit black people was weakness, it was softness, right? Clinton, after Reagan, after Herbert Walker, during his election, went back to motherfucking Arkansas to execute a mentally ill brother of ours on death row, just to show that, hey, he ain't above killing niggas either. I'll never forget that goddamn campaign ad. I'm a little older than some of you. The campaign ad had a picture of motherfucking William Jefferson Clinton and Albert Gore, and it said, Bill Clinton and Al Gore aren't your grandfather's Democrats. And then it led off with an agenda that would have been perfectly fine under some motherfucking Ronald Reagan commercial. Talking about being tough on crime, about making sure that there was plenty of jobs, i.e. for white folks, and so on and so forth. And that's where the fuck the Democrats have been ever since.
A lot of my family members still support Barack.
I know it, Miss Kawami. Trust me, I know it. That's a conversation that's such a goddamn hard slog to have with a lot of our tribe's people that most of us get exasperated even trying. Because every single Democrat since Reagan has basically been Reaganite. They've all agreed on board with whatever it takes to keep niggas in check and on the bottom, and to keep the butter and the guns flowing for the motherfucking upper crust and Wall Street. Every single one. Think about it. When was the last Democrat you ever heard black people talk about that actually didn't necessarily work overtime to do anything hurtful to us? For those of you who would say Jimmy Carter, you're right. Jimmy Carter was about the last Democratic president that we could point to and say, yeah, he wasn't too bad toward niggas. He was also the last Democratic president before Reagan. After 8 years of Reagan, the Democrats were determined that they was never going to be out of power again. And so the key to making sure that they didn't get out of power is to be constantly chasing the white vote. All of it. All of the white vote. Not just the lazy races, but the hardcore races too. Now, how do you snatch the hardcore racist vote from the Republicans? Well, it's simple, fam. You got to do the same goddamn shit that the Republicans would do. And what would the Republicans do to ensure that hardcore racist motherfucking vote? Well, they'd make sure that they smashed anything that wasn't white. They'd make sure that the rich get richer. And they'd lie to the people and tell them that they still have an opportunity to get rich too if the government just step out of the way. Remember how Reagan used to say, the government isn't the solution, the government's the problem. Haven't you noticed that government has been dysfunctional as fuck ever since Reagan? Ain't nobody talking about instituting no new programs to actually help the citizens, right? You understand me on this? Since Reagan, there has not been any new programs instituted that have actually been of benefit to the citizenry. All of the programs that you're aware of pre-existed Reagan. Social Security was there before Reagan. Food stamps was there before Reagan. Section 8 was there before Reagan. And they've all, both Democrats and Republicans, have been trying their asses off since Reagan to get rid of this shit. Or did you think that this whole payroll tax that Trump was pushing was just a way of being able to put more money into your pocket? Sure, it puts more money into your pocket today. at the expense of robbing your pockets when you're too old to work from Social Security. But what do you expect? We've all come to expect that from the kleptocratic Republicans. But see, the fam, we have our blind spots because we never expect the fuckery from the kleptocratic Democrats. We know if I tell you that someone's a Republican and they're a kleptocrat, meaning they're a thief in power, you would never dispute me. You would never dispute me. It wouldn't matter if there was a baby Republican or the highest Republican in the land. If I told you that they were a thief in office, we would have no discussion. The only thing you'd be doing is this. Yep, I believe you, bruh. But now, if I tell you how the Democrats have been robbing your motherfucking black ass blind for decades, now we got to have a fight. Now we got to have a discussion. Now we have to look at nuance. Now we have to examine all the cases. But there literally has been no difference between the Republicans and the Democrats since Reagan. That was the commitment that the Democrats made in order to regain power. Fam, you don't believe me? Remember when Michael Dukakis ran against Herbert Walker Bush? Right? When Michael Dukakis was from Massachusetts. And he was a well-known liberal darling. He was a Democratic up-and-comer. Guy had pull. And Dukakis embraced a whole host of different things that, if had been enacted, would have made some difference in black people's lives. Like, he was not for mass incarceration. Matter of fact, in Massachusetts during Dukakis, he was trying to get rid of people out of jail. He was trying to strengthen the unions again that had been busted under Reagan so that people could be able to collectively bargain and get better jobs against capital. Right? So Dukakis was what we all believe that Democrats are today. And then Herbert Walker Bush put out this ad. Some of you are familiar with this ad. It has gone down in history as the Willie Horton ad. For those of you who have never seen it, it goes as follows. There's a narrator who talks about Dukakis, saying, you don't want to elect Dukakis. Dukakis.
That part.
Thank you, Sister Toolbox. I appreciate the love. Dukakis is going to make it to where killers roam your streets. He's soft on crime. Don't believe us? Then they posted up a picture of Willie Horton, a black man. Willie Horton was released on a weekend furlough, and while out on weekend furlough, he killed this white woman. Michael Dukakis, do you want him killing your white women too? And Michael Dukakis' chances at the presidency was sunk from that moment on, fam. That ad changed everything. And if you were to see that ad today, right, do a search. You can actually find the ad on YouTube. Do a search for the Willie Horton ad. If you were to see that ad today, fam, that shit was so blatantly fucking racist that if a politician put an ad up like that today that wasn't Donald Trump, the whole nation would pillory him. But that ad in 1991, or no, was it 1988? That, or whatever, that ad got Herbert Walker elected. No bullshit. That ad got him elected. And after the demise of Dukakis, the Democrats wasn't having it no more. They saw the writing on the wall. They said we can continue to try to do things for the people, to continue to try to do things to actually help the people, especially to benefit black folk, or we can not ever see power again. And so after Herbert Walker's reign between 88 and 92, when Clinton and Gore ran, they made it clear to America that the days of these lazy, shiftless Negroes getting anything resembling benefits from the United States and bettering their lot is over. We rightfully chide and shade Jim Crow Joe Biden for the Biden bill in 1994. But you understand that Jim Crow Joe was just part of a Democrat ethic that existed throughout the party and still does since Clinton's election to president. Under William Jefferson Clinton, fam, you saw aid for dependent families and children, AFDC, go from AFDC to temporary assistance for needy families, TANF, with hard limits on how long you could get that assistance for. Now, there are those of us who are classist. And so they will say, well, bitches shouldn't be on welfare their whole life anyway. Look, in America, not every black person is going to have a shot at making it. Most of us ain't going to make it nowhere, really. And so cutting off any potential assistance to keep us just above, like this, like keep our nose just above water, is stupid in and of itself. It's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. But classism aside, it was the Democrats that instituted welfare reform, fam. It was the Democrats that deregulated every motherfucking thing. So by the time 1999 came along, we ended up with a motherfucking bubble, and boom, the economy goes in the goddamn toilet. And all those niggas who thought they had good jobs, man, I had a great job under Clinton. He was a great president. They lost all that shit. Bill Clinton made it possible for banks that used to only be able to market to people with money to be able to come to you and get you to invest in their schemes with no protection. Because Glass-Steagall was there to fucking protect you. It was one of those motherfucking New Deal era trust busting things that the Democrats used to do when it was all white. To actually benefit the citizenry. When the Democrats were all white, they had no problem being the bulwark against those hardcore Republicans. But after LBJ, and especially after the reign of Reagan, the first of his name, man, the Democrats said, fuck niggas. And fam, the fact is that we've consistently been voting for them when they told us to fuck ourselves decades ago. Everybody's acting like the way the Democrats are today is something new. I'm here to bring you a history lesson to let you know that it is not new. They have been on this track. We are just now seeing the denouement. Or the denouement. However you want to pronounce it. We're just now seeing the actual finish of the pet project of the Democrats that was instituted since the drubbing that Michael Dukakis took at the hands of Herbert Walker Bush. That's right, Taj, tell him. During Clinton's era, during the so-called dot-com bubble, all you had to do to make billions in the United States of America was this. This was the formula. Fam, I wish I was making this up. All you had to do was be white, come up with a catchy domain name, and rent an office space with a ping pong table in it. And you literally would become a billionaire overnight. That's how crazy the deregulation shit was during William Jefferson Clinton. He was like, fuck rules, fuck laws, let the businesses do whatever the hell they want and make money for everybody. I thought that was some shit that only Republicans were supposed to espouse. Everybody bitching and whining and moaning and complaining about what Donald Trump has done, but trust me, you ain't seen fuckery until there's been a Democratic administration in the office. The Democrats come in and slit the throat of government. And then turned around every 4 years, turn around and tell you it's the motherfucking Republicans' fault. Well, they're against big government, and so they're making sure that there's gridlock. No, the Democrats slit the throat of government. The Democrats took everything you hold holy, sacred, and true and cut its motherfucking jugular and watch it bleed out. And then wonder why you're confused when you're sitting there trying to get the ox to plow the field and it won't move. Sitting there wiping the knife on their pants. I'm on. And fam, I'm not arguing for the Republicans. Understand me. I'm not for either one of those lousy sons of bitches. But I'm tired of these bullshit lies they come to us with every 4 years. That, hey, we just got to hold their feet to the fire. Isn't it interesting? Black people are constantly trying to hold the Democrats' feet to the fire, yet nothing ever fucking happens for us. And I'm still trying to understand how the fuck we're supposed to hold Kamala Harris's feet to the fire when she specifically said, so let's be clear about that. So no, I'm not going to sit here and specifically say I'm going to do something specifically for black people. No, because if anything we do for Americans will automatically benefit black people. Her words, not mine. This bitch told us to our face that she will support everybody and everything but black people specifically. She's had signs outside her office in the Senate inviting dreamers to come on in. Yet when we put mics in front of this bitch's face asking her about our justice claim and reparations, she this lousy political whore who will do anything for anybody to get power won't do shit for us, but we're supposed to somehow give them the power to dominate our lives and then hold them accountable afterwards. Make this shit make sense, fam. Fam, I'm going to tell you a secret. Office holders don't change unless they want to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that upsets you. I'm sorry that if you thought after election, after election, after election, that you were going to somehow have the capability to be able to move your pet politician to a particular position, the answer is no. Once they have the guns and once they have control of the butter, they will do what the fuck they want to do. They will not move unless they want to. Why? Because they don't have to. It's as simple as that. They don't have to move. They are the firewalkers. The fire is when they're campaigning, when they're electioneering. That's when you're supposed to be laying fire, shade, and smoke on these motherfuckers. The moment that the ballots come in and they take office, you can hang it up. Whatever you thought you were going to get from them, if you didn't get that commitment ironclad from day one like Jim Crow Joe Biden is given to immigrants and to everybody else, you're not getting shit. If they haven't made a loud public declaration of the specific commitments made to you and your tribe, you are not getting a fucking thing if they ever take office. The time to hold these bastards' feet to the fire is now. It's now. Now is when you're supposed to be your most critical. Now is when you need to drag these motherfuckers through the mud and see if they come out with some of them on it. With some of them, we need to be dragging them through the mud and see if they come out with mud on them. If they come out squeaky clean, cool. But if they got mud stuck on their asses because they dirty, you don't wait until after we done fucking did this shit and give them the power over our lives in order for them to then all of a sudden be accountable to us, because it don't have to be. You know, I remember the Blue Lives Matter law and how I wanted to kill Barack Obama. I know he's an ex-president. You say you shouldn't say shit like that, right? I'm not saying I'm gonna kill him. I said I wanted to. I wanted him dead. I couldn't believe it. My people out here marching in the streets, begging, protesting, pleading, fighting, bleeding, getting their ass kicked by cops. Under the so-called first black president with a black Department of Justice and all these black faces in high places. And strangely enough, can't shit get done for us? Sister Sandra Bland was killed during Barack Obama's administration too. How many? How many did we lose during Barack Obama's administration? How many brothers and sisters still ended up in prison under Barack Obama? How many? And they tell us that Trump, that bastard, needs to go because he's a scumbag and he's going to destroy democracy. Shout out to you, Big Unc. I see you, fam. Strong Flower said, "Dem exit. I've been gone. Fuck the Democrats. I wouldn't vote for a Democrat if they was cutting checks for your vote. I'm good. That doesn't mean I'm voting Republican either, fam. But fuck the Democrats. I'm way done. Because I see them for who they are. I think about the fact that Trump is supposed to be so fucking bad. But then I can't help but to remember shit like this. You know, Van Jones, in that article I showed you previously, was quoted as saying that doing something criminal justice wise for black folk was considered too ultra left and too niggerish under the Obama administration. Yet Van Jones and Cut 50 and other criminal justice reform advocates were able to successfully get the First Step Act passed under Donald J. Trump. I'm confused. The first black president of the United States considered not locking niggas up to be too niggerish a demand. That shit's way too far out there. It's too far out there. Those are the words of a voice from his administration, mind you. But yet, that same member of Barack Obama's administration, later on under a Republican administration, was actually able to get some credible justice reform done. So, orange man bad, white man black bed wench good. I'm a little confused. Jim Crow Joe Biden, being VP, had the power of the bully pulpit. Even if Barack Obama had done something that he didn't like, he could have went himself before the American people and say, our president should go further. Our president should do this. Our president should do that. And as the VP, his voice would resound across the country. Why? Because he's the motherfucking vice president. It's a big deal if a vice president got beef with his president. But did Jim Crow Joe squawk about any of the fuckery that happened during the 8 years of the Obama administration? No. He was right on board with every single bit of it. With the destruction of Libya, if you don't care about anything else, right? With the decimation of Main Street and the uplifting of Wall Street, bro, Biden was with it all. Because Obama was so clean and articulate. You know, like the rest of us niggas ain't. Donald J. Trump signed the first real motherfucking justice reform we've seen ever since the institution of the motherfucking Biden crime bill in 1994. Now, I'm not rooting for Trump. Not at all. You know my feelings on the man. The man is a traitorous, corrupt, kleptocratic bastard. But I'm confused. If we, as black people, are supposed to be choosing between the lesser of two evils, but we know Joe Biden doesn't support letting black people out of prison, commuting sentences, making their lives easier while they're in federal prison, and so on and so forth. We know Jim Crow Joe doesn't give a fuck about any of that. If it was a matter of voting for the lesser of two evils, in this particular aspect, Donald Trump is the lesser evil. I lost count of how many brothers and sisters before the era of the Rona who got new jobs. I'm on Twitter every day, and I talk to people not just about politics, I talk about their lives. I talk to them about everything. I lost count how many brothers and sisters were saying, damn, I got a new job, and it's a better job than the one I got before. I wasn't seeing that under Barack Obama's administration, but I definitely saw that under Trump's. I'm not saying he's responsible. He may not have had anything to do with it, fam. But I'm saying that I've seen that under his administration. If Barack Obama could take credit for good shit that happened during his administration, then Trump should be allowed to take credit for good shit that happens during his administration. So, in the area of employment opportunities and getting your money up, if I'm voting for the lesser of two evils, again, looks like that vote goes to Team Trump. Even now, my angst with Donald Trump isn't so much about what he has done or hasn't done for black people. My angst with him has been the handling of the coronavirus. I think his administration completely fucking botched it. And because of that, millions of Americans are going to pay the price for it. Millions of Americans already have. And 100,000 plus of us paid the ultimate price for the mishandling of the Trump administration on coronavirus. Whether you think it comes from 5G or whatever, you conspiracy-minded motherfuckers, doesn't matter to me. People are dead under his watch. And there is shit specifically he could have done to address it, and has not and will not. That shit's murderous to me. And I can't fuck with him because of that. But that's something that every American really should be having their ass on their shoulders about. That's not actually directed specifically at niggas. That's not directed directly at us. Even in his incompetence, the man still doesn't find a way to actively go out of his way to hurt me and my people. But Jim Crow Joe has. Kamala Harris, as AG of California, specifically went out of her way to hurt black people, to lock up parents of truants, to keep people in jail past the time they should be out, using our brothers on the fucking front lines as firefighters to fight fires in California, which, by the way, they would not give any one of them brothers a goddamn job as firefighters when they got out the joint. I know. Shout out to my brother Kev. My brother Kev was doing a bid down there in California and was one of those firefighters breathing in that toxic smoke and shit. You think they got workman's comp if they got sick from breathing in all that toxic smoke and shit, trying to fight them firefires and wildfires? Nope. No benefits, no protections, just ordered to work. That's Kamala Harris. Ask Mike Treese Richardson's family what they think about Kamala Harris. She had a chance to prosecute the murderers of her daughter, of their sister, their family member. And that bitch didn't do shit. She basically let legal prostitution go on in San Francisco. They ran a sting, fam, where they was busting dance clubs and shit like that with women selling pussy out of both draw legs. Pardon my French. They presented all that evidence to Kamala and nobody went to jail. How the fuck you a prosecutor? And under your administration, people whose kids is late to school or whatever can go to jail, but people who run whorehouses and shit can't seem to make it to a jail. Wouldn't that make you not the most qualified, but the most incompetent motherfucking prosecutor you ever seen in your life? I'm just saying, fam. I'm just saying. This shit is ridiculous. This is what Jim Crow Joe was on. Per the New York Times. Lock the SOBs up. That's right. We weren't people who were suffering due to the drug war. We weren't people who were in need of assistance, aid, and help. No, we were sons of bitches that Jim Crow Joe was afraid of running into in the racial jungle, and so it was lock us the fuck up. We weren't youths who were looking for opportunities to be able to be an American like everybody else. No, we were super predators who needed to be brought to heel, because they aren't our grandparents, Democrats. This is what Jim Crow Joe was on. He now plays down his role, but that portrayal today is at odds with his actions and rhetoric back then. See, fam, look at the date on this article. I want you to see this. June 25th, 1919. Now, what's the significance of that date? I'll tell you what the significance of the date is, fam, if you don't know. What's the significance of that particular date for this article? Let me see some answers in the chat. What do you think is the significance of that date? What's good, Engaging Black fam? I see you. The significance of that date, fam, is that this was prior to Jim Crow Joe getting the nod for the party. See, before the Democrats gave Jim Crow Joe the nod, right, as the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party, they could tell the truth about his background. They could talk about the fact that that crime bill hurt black people in a way nothing else did. Thank you, Adric, for the love, man. I appreciate you, fam. Before he got the nomination, the nod for the presidential spot, they could tell the motherfucking truth about who Jim Crow Joe is really. Now look at all the think pieces and all the articles and so on and such. Now that he's gotten the nod, everything is glowing. They focus on the poll numbers. Expecting us to forget just who that son of a bitch really is. Expecting us to forget what he's done. I saw a brother on Twitter who Kamala was responsible for keeping behind bars. Jamel Truelove, I believe his name is, came out and said he's voting for Harris and Biden. He's letting bygones be bygones. Jamel, good on you. We as a people can't fucking afford it. Before I open up the phone lines, fam, there's one last thing I want to touch on. One last myth that I want to bust. Another group of firewalkers I want to tell you about. These motherfuckers are coming to you and I from all over social media. And they're telling us that we got to get rid of Trump and put Biden and Harris in the office because of the Supreme Court and the federal judges. We don't want the Supreme Court to go to the conservatives, do we? Fam, the Supreme Court been on the right. When in real practice, right, for black folk, I'm not talking about the rest of America. I'm talking about for us as black folk. This motherfucking Supreme Court is as right wing as you can get. You know, the same Supreme Court that just this year, or last year, I believe it was, decided that, you know what? Now we have to make sure that you establish that there was clear racism on top of anything else. There was only racism before you can file a claim that says that your civil rights have been violated. The but-for shit under the Civil Rights Act of 1866. That was done in by this Supreme Court. And this Supreme Court is not conservative. At least that's what they tell us. It supposedly has, you know, the liberal bastion of justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, on it. It supposedly has got this, what's her name, Sotomayor on it, right? Chief Roberts that actually pulled a lot of liberals bacon out of the fire. I lost count. Even the guy, what's his name? The one that was supposed to rape the woman that got it, like Kavanaugh. Even Kavanaugh has actually been putting out some decent, you know, getting on board some decent legal rulings. For whites on the left, they don't have shit to complain about with this fucking Supreme Court. But for black people, it's been to the right. Fam, they could put 3 more fucking so-called liberals on the Supreme Court right now, and the decisions that they're making and the ways that they're making them would make so little difference to black people's lives, it wouldn't even be fucking funny. And as for federal justices, well, when do black people ever really find their cases in federal court? Sure, if you're talking about like large criminal offenses like slanging big dope and things like that, you might go to the feds. But most black people only find themselves in federal court for like bankruptcies and shit like that. Fuck do I care if the judge is a Republican or a Democrat if he's just discharging my goddamn bankruptcy. Matter of fact, if I'm about to get locked up for some motherfucking Fed time, I don't give a fuck about the politics of the goddamn judge. I just don't want to do that much time. By the way, like Texwell said, it was Obama who appointed Sotomayor to the court. Obama had a chance to, if he really cared so much about the courts being, you know, progressive and to the left and this, that, and the third, Barack Obama could have nominated anybody. Shit, didn't he nominate Merrick Garland? Texwell, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Merrick Garland one of the nominees that Obama wanted to put in on the Supreme Court? This motherfucker was so much to the right that initially the motherfucking Republicans didn't even have a problem with him. They're like, yeah, we're not going to stand in the way. They tell you have to vote to get Trump out to control with Kagan. Okay, so who was it that had Merrick Garland? I forget. But anyway, they tell us that we have to vote to get Trump out because Trump could put in some new justices to turn the court to the right. The right for who? The court's already to the right when it comes to black people. When it comes to upholding the Voting Rights Act, upholding the Civil Rights Act and shit like that, the court's already to the right for us. The court's gone, fam. You sitting here casting your vote for Jim Crow Joe and Chameleon Harris ain't gonna make a bit of fucking difference even if they put in a new justice, because the court's already too far gone for you. There is no justice coming for you from the fucking Supreme Court of the United States. SCOTUS, when it comes to you, have already moved to the right. They haven't addressed effectively gerrymandering of our voting districts. They don't dare touch the Voting Rights Act to actually put teeth in the motherfucker so that we can actually be a goddamn, right? Like, so what the fuck has the Supreme Court actually done for black people? For the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States? And yes, I was right. Darker Visions, Merrick Garland was a motherfucking tool of the police. He never met a motherfucking police in a law he didn't like. And Obama wanted to appoint him. And the Republicans was like, Merrick Garland, okay, sounds good to us. So we supposed to put them in the office so that they can keep the Supreme Court from moving too far to the right. But when it comes to everything that would benefit us, that would do anything for us, the court might as well be alt-right. So you're supposed to care about the Supreme Court. You're supposed to care about federal judges. You're supposed to hold these bastards' feet to the fire with no mechanism in place to do it. Tell me again why the hell they should even be asking you for your vote in the absence of anything resembling specific, tangible resources, tangible policy for you? Explain this to me again. The Firewalkers are always going to be the Firewalkers, because the time to put the fire to their feet to the fire is before you give them the power. The moment they raise their right hand and say, I solemnly swear to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, you're fucking done. You're not going to move them for shit unless they want to move. And trust me, they never want to move for you. They never want to move for you. 425-296-1980 is the number, fam. You know what it is. I want to hear what you think about the Firewalkers. I bet you've been having to face a bunch of fuckery on social media lately with everybody and their mama trying to tell you that, well, I know you don't like him. He wasn't your first pick, but you got to support Jim Crow Joe Biden and his bed wench. Right? I know you've been told that. What do you think? What do you think about the fact that it's patently clear that if for black people, for us, right, for the descendants of the enslaved, for ADOS folk, the lesser of two evils is Donald Trump. 3 years, he just managed to hurt the whole country. We just happen to be a part of it. We collateral damage. Trump ain't specifically came out of the gate and did no policies or anything like that that's specifically supposed to hurt us. Fuck I look like. I'm not vote for him, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like I gotta go chase Joe Biden and Kamala Harris down to give them my motherfucking vote. Not just cause he's Trump. And they not offering nothing specific directly to us. So what the fuck? 425-296-1980 is the number, fam. This is not just my broadcast, this is yours. So I want to hear what you have to say. The Democrats have long moved away from anything that benefits black people decades ago. They stopped being the party of LBJ around Carter's time. We don't owe them no more loyalty. We don't owe them nothing. There's literally zero difference between the Democrats and the Republicans at this point. None. It's just all show. It's smoke and mirrors. 425-296-1980 is the number. I'll wait a little bit for a call to come in. We read some of y'all's comments. Engaging black checking in. I feel you. Obama isn't black, just like Kamala is South Indian, Tamil, Ayer Brahmin. Yep. I read an article on Twitter talking about the heritage and lineage of Kamala's family. How she's Tamil Indian. And they was even talking about reparations or whatever for the Tamils. Now that she might become president or whatever, will she be inclined to move in that direction for the Tamil people? Yeah. Everybody in the world knows that Kamala Harris ain't a black woman. She, at least they know that she's not us. She can claim black. She has some elements, I guess, of blackness to her, but she's not American black. She's not native black American. She's not a descendant of the enslaved here in the United States. She's not ADOS. Everybody else in the world seems to know that, except for the bootlicks and ass kissers of the DNC. Toolbox said all his directors were rich white girls. Yep, I hear you. With piles of degrees. Yep. A drink said, "What about Kanye? What about Kanye? Kanye ain't saying nothing I want to hear. Kanye, I don't think he's even talked about reparations, has he? Nah, Kanye ain't getting shit. If you really want to know who I'm voting for, fam, if it's that that big of an issue, I'm voting green. I voted green in the last 3 presidential elections. I'm voting green again this year. I'm voting for Howie Hawkins and Angela Walker. I don't hold my nose to vote for candidates. I don't vote for evil. I don't vote for evil. Period. I'm not putting nobody and no one in the office that means harm for me and my people. As far as I can tell, both Republicans and Democrats don't mean no good for us. I don't vote for them motherfuckers. I mean, I don't care what nobody say. I thought that I might vote for Trump earlier. That's out. Fuck Trump. The way he's handled this coronavirus shit, he's lost any respect that I ever might have had. Actually, I never had any respect for him. I just liked how he was doing shit in certain ways. And he hasn't been actively hurting black people. But I'm cool. I'm voting green. So if you're wondering, you can rewind this video months from now and you'll say, yep, Mark Black's voting green. And I'd advise you to check out the Green Party. Why should you have to hold your nose to vote? Why should you have to sit there and gag to vote? Fucking bullshit. Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. Kanye's question was only a downvote, not to be seen as a serious candidate. Yeah. If you feel like voting, like, a third party vote, if you want to treat Kanye like a third party vote, go right ahead. I'm not voting for Kanye, but if you did vote for Kanye, I wouldn't be mad. Anything but Jim Crow Joe Biden. Fuck that shit. Fuck I look like. You can't, there's nothing he can tell me at this point. There's nothing Kamala Harris can tell me at this point. We didn't want that bitch to be president. We don't want her to be baby president. Hell, the people in her motherfucking district don't even want her to be a senator. And y'all trying to shove this bitch down our throat again? Get the fuck out of here. I'm cool. Like, I'm way cool. Damn Jim Crow Joe and damn Kamala Harris. There is nothing you can tell me about either one of them. I wouldn't care if you came to me and said that they shit platinum bricks and they're willing to shit for the black community. I will not vote for them. Never. I will take my ballot and burn that motherfucker before I cast it for Joe Biden. My brother is dead today because of Joe Biden. I've got plenty of my tribe's people doing football numbers in prison because of Joe Biden. I got plenty of people whose families were completely atomized because the breadwinner was locked up in the joint because of Joe Biden. I got plenty of motherfucking people who suffered under the hands of Jim Crow Joe. That motherfucker will never get a vote for mine as long as I can punch a ballot. Ever. There is nothing you can tell me. I don't care if he asks for forgiveness butt naked on Fifth Street or whatever it is in New York City during the Macy's Day Parade. Fuck Joe Biden. And truthfully, any of our tribe, if they were actually using their thinking cap rather than getting the feelies because of Kamala and all of her sorors going ski wee, right? They wouldn't be wasting their time voting for them motherfuckers either. But we got old niggas to deal with and political neophytes. And I don't know what to tell you. That's a fight that's going to be ongoing. That's the war within. All right, fam. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Short broadcast, but hopefully an important one. Hopefully one that you thought was salient, that brought you some information that you wasn't thinking about. Fam, don't let them buffalo you. Don't let them buffalo you with this, let's get them in there and they hold their feet to the fire. There's no doing that under a representative government. Once you give them the keys to the kingdom, they can tell you to go fuck yourself, and they will. They always do when it comes to you and I. Always. The time for you to expend your load, to blast them with both barrels, is right now, before they get into office. If you can't move them now, you won't move them once they get into office. Fuck the Supreme Court. For black people, the Supreme Court's been on the right side. It's been on the right wing side for forever now. and anything short of a revolution or us just completely deciding to disobey as a people and ignore the law is going to stop or change that. So fuck the Supreme Court. It's already gone. There's no reason. There's no reason whatsoever for you to consider Jim Crow Joe Biden and Kamala Chameleon Harris for president and vice president of the United States. No reason. None at all. So, fam, I will see you all Wednesday. And until next time, as always, I want to wish you all love, peace, prosperity, and power. Real power to our people.